This was originally going to be a 9-day backpacking trip, but due to wildfire smoke, it was cut down to 4 days. The trip took place in Wyoming's Grand Teton National Park and the Jedediah Smith Wilderness, which I accidentally called Jebediah Smith several times. Day 1, we set off from Darby Canyon on the west side of the range and went up and over an unnamed pass below Fossil Mountain, then across some meadows toward Indian Lake. Day 2, we dropped down onto Death Canyon Shelf, where we proceeded north for a canyon rim camp. Day 3, we went through Alaska Basin, over Hurricane Pass, then cross country to Icefloe Lake. Day 4, we cut over to Snowdrift Lake, where Night Force Camp was. It was a surprisingly busy lake, and with more smoke pouring in, we didn't really want to camp there. But, due to the national park permit regulations, we had to. So, we decided to hike out and finish the remainder of our vacation in Utah's High Uinta Wilderness, which somehow dodged the smoke that week. Despite the previously mentioned, this was one of the most scenic trips of the year, and Lacey and I are beyond impressed with the endless gardens of the Tetons. Enjoy. Starting this video kind of like
quarter of the way into our trip because we're starting at Darby Canyon. The Darby Canyon to Wind Cave Trail is pretty busy, and I don't really like filming myself talking in front of a bunch of people. So here we are. We just branched off the main trail. I'll explain more on the trip later once we get to camp tonight, but tonight's objective is Indian Lake within Grand Teton National Park, and we are heading to it from Darby Canyon up through and past Fossil Mountain over Fox Creek Pass, and then it's Indian Lake. So now that we're free of the crowds, we're well, at least me anyway, I'm gonna start filming some of this stuff. Got a little hint of smoke in the air, which is kind of making me nervous because the other day it was clear and beautiful in the park, and I just don't want the hazy smoke of the very few fires that just happen to be in Idaho to be blowing this way and obstructing any views. But anyways, here's day one, heading to Indian Lake from Darby Canyon. Alright, we've broken tree line into some pretty significant meadows right now. And you can actually see our pass right there. I don't think it has a name, it might though. On the map it doesn't have a name. And Fox Creek Pass is on the other side of Fossil here. And the idea is to go drop down here. So that's one pass, and then right away we'll be right on Fox Creek Pass. So it's like two passes like back to back. We've made it to the unnamed pass. This is the view back the other way. Looks like a trail starts to form back up down there. I wonder if it hugged the side of the basin where we just cut straight through. We were way ahead of schedule, so we took a nice little long break and just watched the meadows, looking for wildlife. So we're gonna start heading down now to Fox Creek Pass. This is one last look at Darby Canyon. You can see the lowlands out there and some fire smoke. So we're popping out down here at the bottom. It's actually mostly trailed and streams, pretty straightforward way down. Now we're gonna start walking that direction there and intersect with the Fox Creek Pass Trail and take that up to the pass. So we just came from up there. We have made it to the Fox Creek Pass Trail. We're gonna now take it up to the pass. Looks like you can see it cut up in through there.
First sight of Grand Teton. So we made it to Pass Lake. This is where we'll have lunch before heading up to Indian Lake. It is absolutely beautiful up here. The meadows are all green and healthy right now, and the flower show is not messing around one bit. So we just finished lunch and we're heading up to the ridge now. Great view of Death Canyon Shelf. It is pretty fantasy tier gorgeous here. Just name a color and there's a wildflower with that color. Lacey and I are walking across tons of stuff like this where it's a little crack that just vanishes down to the abyss. Where we popped out was a drainage too far. It's actually behind this guy right here, I'm thinking. Looking at the topo now that I'm up here. Pretty cool. You could see I don't know if it's a ski thing or the whatever it's called, that tram to the top of that one mountain. First view of Indian Lake, and it is not too bad actually. Looking back out this way, not gonna lie, it's not kind of how I pictured it. The mountains don't really block a lot of the view. You got like that tram thing there, then you got the doctorate level gentrification right over there. The lake itself's really pretty, same as the wall, but I'm gonna go down a little further and we may actually make our decision to backtrack up to just avoid permit issues, that Jebediah Wilderness border, and camp on the ridge so we get a view of that amazing meadowy valley with the Tetons towering over it. To be honest, when I drew up going to Indian Lake, thought it'd be a bit more off trail. There's been a lot of trails, and even down Indian Lake there's this really massive sheep trail that's like 2.5 feet wide. Got a little excited when the ranger station put in for the permit. He got a little excited saying that he's never ridden a permit for Indian Lake before. And it looks like the sheep trail follows this meadow here down to this bench. And you see a cut right here. There's one that's one way down. On the other side, it kind of like hooks with another deer or sheep trail, or you can butt scoot into this notch here, and there's just a series of boulders to get down to this lake. honestly, with that ridge camp, this can't really compete, especially at sunset. Sunset's gonna go over this guy right here. It's just gonna be shadows. Whereas on that ridge, we're gonna get a 5-star show. And yeah, you'll see what I mean later tonight, because we're gonna be camping up on that ridge. It's got a cool color though. Yeah, sorry Indian Lake, you're gonna lose this one. So somewhere where I'm standing is the park and Jebediah Wilderness border. There is a nice little bowl up in there, and we know there is water from snow melting over there, because that's where we accidentally popped out on when I said we were in the wrong drainage. So we're gonna camp actually up in this bowl. And one of the sins of this area though is you do get cell service. That kind of sucks. But so you could keep an eye on the weather a bit easier. I think the next 10 days are all sun. I think the Rockies are back in a drought mode. But hopefully we get some very good alpenglow in this beautiful series of plateaus and meadows. Absolutely spectacular view, wonderful colors, perfect amount of trees and spacing with the meadows. Got all different types of mountains. You got pointy guys, thick guys, you got baby Chinese walls, you got Glacier National Park looking dudes. This is a pretty awesome and diverse spot, so first night's gonna be pretty awesome. Probably hearing a lot of wind noise, and that'd be because it's pretty windy right now, but I find that actually pretty awesome. Past 2 big trips, the Sierra trip, the Bob Marshall trip, have been ovens. And I keep saying it, I don't do good in heat. So right now with this wind, it's like in the mid to low 60s. This feels incredible. You got views like that. I'm in heaven right now. This is pretty freaking cool. We're back up on that knob. And there's some water down this way, so we're gonna find some flat spot somewhere up here that's not too flowery. There's camp. There's our view. Some trees. There was nice, actually big flat spot in here in the trees, but it looks like the deer are using it to sleep, so I'm not gonna take their spot so the deer can keep sleeping there. The deer have been hanging out down here by our water source. There's some snow melt here. I'm gonna go fill up with water. Got some amazing meadows, and it's kind of in the shade right now, but Marion, whatever it's called, lake's over there. Smoke unfortunately made a somewhat lackluster sunset with alpenglow eyes over that direction. But with the smoke, it is getting some really cool colors off towards the horizon here. Pika is upset that we're watching the sunset in his spot. Good morning, it is day 2. We are packed up. Our route today is we're going to drop back down to the Fox Creek Pass, get on the Death Canyon shelf, and walk it all the way down and around this corner here. And after that, I think another mile or so, we'll find camp. A bit cooler today, so I'm loving that. So day 1 started here in Darby Canyon. There's actually quite a bit of good car camping along here, but started heading up this. This is straight to the point with switchbacks and elevation gain. Once you get about here, right where it starts to turn, there's a trail that kind of branches off and disappears on and off to where it just kind of outright vanishes in these meadows. But at that point, you don't really need it because you could just straight up just cut straight to this unnamed pass below Fossil Mountain. There is a somewhat worn climber's goat trail down the other side, which is pretty easy to follow to drop down into the Fox Creek Pass area, or the trail leading to the pass anyways. This area is really pretty in here. You actually, map doesn't show it, but you cross 2 streams. Shows you the main stream crossing here, but there's a second one that's much smaller that comes here. But so you cross 2 streams, and then you could find the trail. It's not as well worn as you think it would be, but it's there. And the trail up to Fox Creek Pass is pretty easy. Pass Lake was really beautiful, had a nice backdrop of the big guys out east that way. And from Pass Lake we just cut up to Indian Lake. We initially popped out right here. Right, yeah, this isn't right. And then we realized we were 1 drainage over. Went over, checked out Indian Lake. Didn't like the look of it because you just see city down back this way, and then some gondola or some ski thing or something. So it wasn't very wildernessy. And this view up from this ridge looking this way was unreal. So we went back to this corner right here in this wilderness area and camped here, where we had a great view for night number 1 and a pretty good sunset. Entering the upper part of Alaska Basin. We are now on the Devil's Staircase Trail. We are almost to camp for the night. Easy day. Prepare us for all the elevation gain for tomorrow. It's an Icefloe lake. Really pretty shelf. A lot more open than the Death Canyon shelf. We've left the trail. We're now heading to our camp. This will be at the edge of the canyon rim overlooking Alaska Basin. Here's on the canyon rims of Alaska Basin. Like he's been protecting our tent while we've been gone. He's comfy enough to lay down. We just ate dinner. Now we're gonna come sit here and watch the hillside for any bears. Well, that's that. Gonna go stash the bear keg and call it a night. That's day number 2 in the books. Look what decided to rear its ugly head in the morning of number 3. Got some smoke. And the junction, heading to the goat steps on our way to Icefloe Lake. Screw smoke. Won't focus on them, but I think those were, what was it, those F-22s or whatever. Lacey and I are almost to Sunset Lake, and up this way is Hurricane Pass. You can see Grand Teton kind of peeking through there on the right. Battleship Mountain really does look like a battleship. Cool. Well, Lacey and I have made it to Hurricane Pass. Pretty awesome. I think the Icefloe Lake bench is right there. I think. Pretty cool. This is looking back the other way where we came. We got this cool view. And I think this is our turn-off trail to go up to Avalanche Divide, and then this bench will take us to Icefloe. Quite a few people hiking down there. Here's the outlet of that lake. We're gonna start making our way up to Icefloe Lake now. Branch off the Avalanche Divide trail is like another 400 feet down there. Instead of staying on the trail, losing 400 feet, only to have to regain it, we're going to go through this faint trail that cuts off from people coming from Hurricane Pass. You kind of faintly see it right there. Kind of comes and goes, but it's going to eventually meet up with it up there, and there's the Avalanche Divide. And I'm guessing Icefloe Lake is probably on one of these two benches, probably the higher one. There's no escaping the litter. One nice thing about these longer backpacking trips is as you go on, you eat your food, your pack gets a lot lighter. But Lacey and I's packs aren't getting lighter if we find garbage everywhere that we're gonna have to pick up, because it's just quite an eyesore. And Lacey and I are back on the main trail. As you see, the Hurricane Pass is here. Avalanche Divide trail starts down here. There's this faint trail. We just followed along here so we didn't have to lose the 400 or so feet. Now we're pretty darn close to Icefloe. There's the head wall. We're just gonna hop up them big boulders at the top and look for a good camp spot. First view of Icefloe Lake. Looks like we found our camp spot. Well, we got camp set up, and this is our view. Sitting down right now. Got a nice little waterfall there. I think that's South Teton. We're overlooking this real pretty basin. See, we're done staring at that for a few hours, so now this is our new angle to angle our faces away from the sun. Be staring at this for a few hours now. Started to get a little hot and buggy, so we moved up on this boulder. Bugs followed us, but it's a bit windier. Mosquitoes and smoke. Blasphemy. Well, we just had dinner. Now for the sunset. Still really smoky. Might make a cool sunset though. Is day 4. Still a little smoky. Short day today. We're just gonna walk back along here up to the Avalanche Divide and go check out Kidd and Snowdrift Lake. The one downside of having cell service is we're able to check all the areas that are smoke free right now. The smoke forecasts were fine up until 1 o'clock, and then it comes back in full force. I guess it's pretty bad in Missoula and Bozeman right now. So we got some decisions to make, definitely. Got like a week left on our vacation, and it does seem like the high Uintas are being spared right now, at least for now. California's starting to erupt. But anyways, one thing at a time. We're gonna at least go check out Kidd and Snowdrift Lake first. One last look of Icefloe Lake. I hate it when the forecast is correct. The wind shifted and I was able to see detailed farmlands and some mountains out there this morning at Icefloe. Now I can't see them, so the smoke is heading back this way. Very unfortunate. Actually, quite a bit of traffic here at Kit Snowdrift Lake for not having a, as it has a trail bit at the divide, but there's nothing really in the basin. Icefloe seemed a bit lonelier. Just had I think a biologist. So he's looking for pica. He had a big chart and all that, and he's went up that way. So I hope he finds pica. There's a bunch at Icefloe, so he's headed in the right direction. There's a few groups down there at Snowdrift and one at Kit. And within a few hours, this is going to look a lot smokier, so I have some decisions to make. Looks like the Greater Yellowstone isn't doing much better smoke-wise, unfortunately. One of our backup plans was the Teton Wilderness, the Absarokas. Looks just as smoky, if not more. Well, with the forecast and having about a week left for our pretty much our last big vacation of the year, we're gonna make the call to just bum rush and hike out and finish the trip up in greener pastures. It looks like the high Uintas in Utah are having scattered thunderstorms all the way from Wednesday to Sunday. And Lacey and I learned last year, if you hike where there's thunderstorms, you can get away from the smoke because the wind there's so much turmoil in the wind, and moisture really dampens the smoke down. That's what the smoke forecast seems to agree with. So that's the gamble we're taking, because we're going to be living in the smoke. So we live in Montana, we're going to be living in it for the next month and a half. I'd like to finish our vacation with some clear views. So it's unfortunate, but that's just the life out here in the mountains. Lacey and I are back up and over Hurricane Pass. Alaska Basin's ahead. Tackle that, the Goat Steps, Dead Canyon Shelf, then back into Darby Canyon. You can see it's slowly moving in. It's not moving as fast as forecasted, but it's definitely coming. Can't see those guys out there too well anymore. Lacey spotted this moose down in Death Canyon. Just made it over Fox Creek Pass. Smoke creeping up. Our unnamed pass is right there. Then it's all downhill. Lacey, what did that to you?
The rocks.
Was it these rocks?
Yep.
Oh, Lacey and I are almost at the top of the unnamed pass. Left Avalanche Divide, I think at like 12:30 or something. 12. And it's about 5:40-ish right now. This last little bit you're looking at right here is our last bit of uphill for about 2 to 3 miles of just downhill to the car. Making pretty good time. Get a beer and burger and Victor, then recollect and relocate for the next 4-day, 3-nighter before our vacation ends. Made it up to the top. That air conditioning from the wind feels great. Now it's all downhill. A lot of uphill today. 3 passes in 1 day. The day before our trip into the high Uintas. A nice private camp. A relaxing evening. We're not sleeping in the tent, we're sleeping in the truck, but we just treated the tent for water since it started to leak a little bit. And we're gonna get thunderstorms every evening on this trip, starting tomorrow. It was a hard find, but like Evanston, Wyoming, Evanston, Wyoming had a, or Evanston, I can't remember, but it had a beer stored and had Labatt Blue. And this evening we'll be having jalapeno cheddar hot dogs. Charcoal grill.